The Rock and Vin Diesel's beef is hilarious.
You allegedly called Vin Diesel a candy and unprofessional, didn't film any scenes together.
Hey, Dwayne.
I believe in doing things a certain way. He believes in doing things another way.
What was the most unprofessional behavior you witnessed from Vin?
Shout out to Tyrese, his new album. It's the biggest piece of dog that I have ever heard. I'm never gonna forgive him for wasting my time, mother.
You gotta plead the fifth on that.
But maybe it started sooner than we realized. I think it started way back in 2006. Reason being for that is The Rock and Vin Diesel just so happened to be involved with the only two games in history that had planned movie tie-in sequels that were both scrapped after their games released. The Rock's game was Spy Hunter Nowhere to Run and Vin Diesel's The Wheelman. I hadn't played either of these games before. I'd watched one of my friends play Wheelman before at their house, but I never played it myself. So what the heck, I decided I'll play them both, give my review of them, compare them, and then point out maybe that The Rock and Vin Diesel's beef started a lot farther back than we thought. This is the first game, Spy Hunter Nowhere to Run, developed by Terminal Reality. These people made the Blood Ring games, Metal Slug Anthology, the Connect Star Wars game, and the Walking Dead Survival Instinct. It was released on PS2 and Xbox on September 5th, 2006, and then on PC 3 years later on March 26, 2009. This release date is pretty weird, I'll come back to it later. But anyways, the game stars Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as a government agent named Alex Decker, the spy hunter who was supposed to be the main character of the movie. The story follows Alex, who is an agent of the International Espionage Service, transporting an unknown cargo when he is pursued by Nostra agents. A shootout happens with Alex and Karen, a fellow IES agent, against the Nostra leader, Gomez. They incapacitate Alex and take the cargo, Alex's car, and Karen disappears with them. Fast forward a year later, and Alex traces his car to an offshore freighter and finds Karen. They escape and go after the Nostra leader. Decker sneaks onto a plane and attempts to fight Gomez, but he escapes. Karen and Decker chase after, and the game ends. The movie's sequel was supposed to pick up here. The fate of the three characters is unknown. What happened? Did they live? Did they beat him? Who knows? The gameplay is the first of the Spy Hunter series, which I've never played any of the Spy Hunter games that came out during that time, but this was a first for the series where players were able to get out of the car and fight baddies hand to hand and shoot guns. Of the levels I played, the driving was definitely the best part and definitely something they should have stuck to. It's actually kind of fun and chaotic, but the on-foot sections, oh my god, they were painful. The shooting barely functions, and the combat is incredibly over the top, feeling like you're watching a highlight reel of the same 4 clips from The Rock's WWE days. You could absolutely tell it's mocap by him, and he just repeats his signature moves that he's used to doing in the ring. The way he punches and the way it just like the blows land, it's like every blow is like a shotgun blast. Punching and throwing people all over the place. And don't even get me started on the piss poor dialogue and acting and animation of the cutscenes. Just look at this clip. This happens like right in the first level when they're setting up Alex to get his car taken from him.
Karen, do you even know how to fire a gun?
Holy crap. The game is full of these moments of just horrible animations, trying way too hard to be overly cinematic and cool at the expense of gameplay and just being a fun game in general. The game's reception was middle of the road as you could possibly be, with an average score of 51 out of 100 on Metacritic. This quote from Chris McCarver of 411 Mania gave it a 3.5 out of 10 and says, "While I understand Midway and developer Terminal Realities need to showcase The Rock and his action star status for the the sake of this game. Spy Hunter Nowhere to Run takes this franchise into entirely new and sadly entirely unwanted territory. Even with the out-of-place on-foot gameplay elements, the game would still fall flat due to its lackluster presentation and minimal level of actual fun. The game isn't worth its pros, but weigh them against its compost pile of cons, and Spy Hunter Nowhere to Run becomes little more than a Z-list title relegated to the bargain bin. Thanks for trying, Midway, but this ride's a broken down lemon. Damn. Oh, and then there was also this clip from The Rock in 2017 talking about Game Informer giving him a 3 out of 10.
You were in the game too.
Yes, I was in a game. Yeah, Spy Hunter, classic midway game. Dun, 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 dun. 2006. I'm still loving my 3 out of 10 review from Game Informer, by the way. 3 out of 10.
Okay,
Thanks, guys.
all right, fine.
I'm pissed at that.
Okay, fine. But 3 out of 10 isn't bad.
It sucks.
It's not that bad.
The game overall is a mess, but let's move on to Vin Diesel's game, Wheelman. Wheelman was developed by Tigon Studios, which is owned by Vin Diesel himself, in which all of his games that are made at Tigon Studios feature him. It was founded in 2002 by Vin Diesel, shortly after his success with the first Fast and Furious and Chronicles of Riddick movies. They were responsible for all of the Chronicles of Riddick's game and the Fast and Furious Crossroads game that apparently no one liked. Wheelman was released for the PS3, Xbox 360, and PC on March 24th, 2009. I mentioned earlier that date was important because that is only 2 days prior to the PC port of Spy Hunter Nowhere to Run. Why would a PC port of a game that was released 3 full years ago be released only 2 days after Wheelman release? Weird coincidence. The game takes place in an open world environment of Barcelona. The story follows Milo Buric, played by Vin Diesel, an undercover CIA agent assigned to investigate a briefcase containing classified documents, which is also being hunted by all the crime families of Barcelona, wanting to sell it to the highest bidder. Milo acts as a getaway driver for various criminals as he makes his way up their ladders, learning all the info he can about the inner workings of the criminal underground plaguing Barcelona. And doing various jobs for each of the gangs, it leads them into an all-out gang war, and Milo always finding himself in the middle of it. All this culminates in Milo having to pick a side as the 3 gangs wage war over this information, and depending on who you choose is who you're tasked with killing. Michael gets revealed to be an undercover agent, and a bunch more characters get killed. He eventually kills all the bad guys and protects the girl, and it's all wrapped up real nicely. The game plays, sounds, reads everything like a Fast and Furious movie, through and through. You can tell it was written and produced by Vin Diesel and sounds so close to any of the last 5 Fast and Furious movies you wouldn't know the difference if I told you. When the game was announced in 2006, there was a film to follow after it. This had a lot of big players involved. Vin Diesel was set to be the lead role. They had the guy that wrote the first XXX movie as the writer. Paramount and MTV were set to collaborate and fund the project, and it was slated to release 18 months after the game was to be released, and then it never got any updates once the game released. Same thing that happened to the Spy Hunter movie. The gameplay is very similar to Spy Hunter in the way that you drive around, blow stuff up, race around in cool cars, and then get out on foot and shoot people. However, this game stands out is its ridiculous airjack and cyclone abilities. By some force of God, Milo possesses the ability to jump from the driver's seat on top of other cars and carjack them in midair, and he can force any vehicle to do a 180 spin, drive backwards, and in pinpoint slow motion accuracy, dispatch enemies and vehicles, and then 180 spin right back and keep driving. This is of course only possible because how dangerously and cool you drive around and build up your focus meter to be able to pull these maneuvers off. Overall, the game is better than the Spy Hunter game, but it's not without its glaring flaws. The voice acting and dialogue is nearly impossible to listen to without laughing.
Just because Paolo tell me to forget shit, don't mean I will.
This can only end badly for you, Felipe.
Better watch your back.
I always do.
The driving is good and snappy, but the on-foot sections suck all the fun out of the game by just being stiff and mind-numbingly easy. Reviews for this game were a bit better than what Spy Hunter got, but it wasn't deemed good. One review by Tom Hoggins of the Daily Telegraph gave the game a 7 out of 10, saying it isn't exactly the smartest video game out there. In fact, it's quite possibly the dumbest game I've played in a long while. However, it's wickedly self-aware of its own silliness and revels in it, leading to the kind of guilty pleasure that can only come come with such a willful grasp of absurdity, and smashing things up, of course. So where do I get that these games may have been the beginning of The Rock and Vin Diesel beef? Well, why did Vin Diesel start production of a game that follows a very similar plot to The Rock's game once The Rock's game came out? And then why was there a PC port of The Rock's game released 2 days after Vin Diesel's game? And why are these games the only 2 games that were marketed to have movie tie-in sequels that were both canceled after their games released? And then also, why are both of these games centered around driving and blowing stuff up, but also have on-foot sections that are very similar in appearance and functionality? I suppose, at least with The Rock, you felt like a WWE wrestler, and with Vin Diesel, you just gun people down at point-blank range. But that's where I see all the similarities, and that's it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed listening to me ramble about these 2 random games. Did y'all play them? Did any of you guys play these games? Let me know what you thought of them. If you made it this far, please like the video and subscribe. That'd be great if you did. And let me know if you have any other video game deep dives you'd like to see me cover. Bye.